You think you see people clearly. You think manipulation is something that happens to the weak, the naive, the careless. But what if I told you that the very moment you believe you are immune, that's when you are most vulnerable? Manipulators do not seek fools, they hunt confident minds. Minds that believe themselves untouchable. They do not overpower you, they rearrange you, quietly, invisibly, with the precision of a chess master, moving a piece that seems insignificant until it delivers checkmate. This is the first truth you must accept: you are not immune. And because of this, you are dangerous enough to learn what comes next. Manipulation is never loud. It never announces itself. It doesn't wear the mask of evil. It wears the mask of trust, connection, understanding. It feels like someone finally sees you in a world where most people barely glance. Machiavelli warned centuries ago, the most effective power is invisible, and manipulators wield it like surgeons wield scalpels. They don't push, they suggest. They don't demand, they hint. They do not take, they guide you to give, believing it was your idea all along. And until you recognize this, you are moving through a minefield blindfolded. With each emotional response, you offer a spark ready to ignite. The first genius way to outsmart a manipulator is deceptively simple: reveal less, not more. They feed on data. Every glance, every slip, every sigh is information. They study patterns in your behavior, the tremors in your voice, the twitch of your fingers, the hesitation before your words. If they know your weaknesses, they can bend reality to their will. So you must shrink your emotional surface. Speak less. Show less. Let your reactions be shadows, hints, but never signals. They cannot twist silence. They cannot twist ambiguity. And when they provoke, respond with the calm of a Stoic. Manipulators are confounded by unreadable minds, because their power lies in predictability, and unpredictability is poison to their system. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Manipulators hunt patterns. Every habit, every ritual, every predictable gesture becomes a lever to pull you toward their ends. The second method is counterintuitive, yet profoundly effective. Break your patterns deliberately. If you always reply instantly, delay. If you always explain, refuse to justify. If you always agree, say no. When your rhythm changes, the manipulator's map collapses. Their strategies fail. Confusion becomes their cage. History provides endless proof. Hannibal crossing the Alps to confound Rome. Napoleon feinting retreats to trap his enemies. Sun Tzu exploiting unpredictability to dominate the battlefield. Nature itself rewards the unpredictable animals that vary their paths, avoid predators, and humans are no different. Unpredictability is survival, and manipulators are predators. Yet manipulators exploit more than patterns. They exploit your need for social compliance, your craving to be liked, to be good. This brings us to the third method: ask questions instead of reacting. When someone tries to control you, do not react. Do not defend. Ask. Ask sharp, precise questions. Why do you need this from me? What makes this my responsibility? Help me understand your objective. Suddenly, they must justify themselves. Their hidden motives are illuminated. Their narrative falters. Manipulators despise mirrors because mirrors reflect truth, and truth is fatal to manipulation. Questions are mirrors. They expose the predator to itself. And in doing so, they strip away the manipulator's control without you raising a hand. But there is a shadow behind this tactic most people overlook. Asking questions does more than expose. They reveal you as unreadable, untouchable, emotionally self-governed. They realize they cannot predict you, cannot bend you, cannot draw the strings they crave. Fear enters their mind, not yours. And yet the heart of manipulation is not in visible acts of coercion. It is in subtle, invisible distortion, gaslighting, mental twisting, making you doubt what you know to be true. The fourth method is the fortress against this master internal validation. Do not seek reassurance from others. Trust your perception. Listen to your gut. If it whispers, something is wrong, honor it. Manipulators prey on dependency on external approval. Remove that dependency, and you are untouchable. As Marcus Aurelius said, no man is free who is not master of himself. Manipulators attempt to imprison you with your own mind. Mastering your reality renders their influence impotent. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Manipulators do not operate only on individuals. They operate on dynamics. They control environments, isolate allies, orchestrate tension. The fifth method counters this: boundaries with brutal clarity. Boundaries are not walls, they are rules of engagement. Every manipulator tests boundaries, small favors, emotional reactions, subtle pressure. If you yield, escalation follows. If you resist, retreat. Boundaries must be communicated with clarity, enforced without emotion. I am not available. This is not my responsibility. Stop. The conversation is over. Short, clean, non-negotiable. Boundaries speak a language manipulators cannot comprehend, and their failure to breach your limits dismantles their strategy. Yet manipulative power often thrives on attention, emotional fuel, the very reactions you provide. Here lies the sixth method: starve them of reward. Manipulators feed on obedience, guilt, fear, validation. Remove the energy. Respond neutrally. Give nothing. No compliance. No outrage. No defense. They exist in emotional exchange. Cut off the currency, and they retreat. You do not fight. You remove their incentive. The predator leaves when the prey no longer offers sustenance. But there is a deeper, more dangerous truth we haven't touched yet. Every manipulator reveals themselves over time. Their patterns, contradictions, and compulsions expose them. The seventh method: observe before acting. Do not rush. Wait, listen. Watch. See how they treat others. Notice inconsistencies, subtle pressure, entitlement. Patterns reveal strategy. Patterns reveal weakness. Once the manipulator's blueprint is visible, you are empowered. You do not need to engage immediately. You now know how to respond with precision. Machiavelli described this in his writings. The prudent ruler waits, watches, and lets the adversary reveal their hand before countering. And yet, each of these methods, concealing unpredictability, questioning self-validation, boundaries, withholding reward, observation, must be layered, interwoven. Alone, they are useful. Together, they create a fortress the manipulator cannot penetrate. You become unreadable, untouchable, unknowable. You become the dark forest where their maps fail, the uncharted territory that cannot be exploited. Every attempt they make becomes a misstep. Every strategy is nullified, and their own momentum becomes their undoing. Consider history's examples. Marcus Aurelius confronting political intrigue in Rome without overt aggression. Sun Tzu outmaneuvering enemies with patient observation. The silent resilience of those who lived under authoritarian shadows. They did not overpower. They outlasted. They understood. They anticipated. Manipulators, like predators, rely on the prey moving into the trap willingly. Stop moving. Stop giving signals. Stop playing by their rules. And suddenly, the trap collapses. This is why your awareness is lethal. Every micro-expression you control, every pattern you obscure, every question you ask, every internal validation, every boundary, every withheld reward, every patient observation accumulates into a shield that is invisible yet impenetrable. Manipulators cannot measure it, cannot calculate it, cannot exploit it. And in the rare moments they attempt to escalate, their frustration becomes visible. They flinch, they miscalculate, they falter. Their confidence is shattered because they believed you were just another predictable target. You are not, but there is a darker layer beneath even this. Manipulators also exploit your morality. They prey on guilt, compassion, the desire to help, the fear of conflict. Every time you feel the pull to justify, appease, or rescue, they gain leverage. And this is why the most profound protection is philosophical. You must reframe morality as self-preservation without guilt. You do not betray principles. You uphold them, but selectively. You do not allow manipulation to masquerade as obligation. You learn to see the difference between your genuine duty and their manufactured guilt. At this point, manipulation no longer functions because it depends on participation. It requires your compliance, your emotional reaction, your uncertainty. Remove those, and the manipulator is rendered impotent. The predator becomes frustrated by its own impotence. And frustration is weakness. Weakness is predictability. And predictability is vulnerability, the only domain where you now hold power. Even subtle manipulations, the whisper campaigns, the insinuations, the social poison, they fail, because your inner fortress has been constructed not from aggression, but from observation, patience, emotional discipline, and strategic unpredictability. You have become a mind that cannot be cornered, a presence that cannot be destabilized, a player outside the game board they designed. And manipulators who rely on controlling reality rather than truth cannot operate where reality itself is unassailable. But let us not forget the final paradox. The more you appear normal, compliant, even oblivious, the more the manipulator relaxes, exposes themselves, grows predictable, and in this very exposure lies your ultimate advantage. The predator, confident in their power, unwittingly reveals every lever they plan to pull. And when they do, you already know which strings exist and which are illusions. Your calm patience transforms into dominance without confrontation. So when next you encounter someone who seeks to manipulate, remember the 7 genius ways. Conceal your emotions, break patterns, ask questions, validate yourself internally, enforce boundaries, withhold reward, and observe before acting. Layer them, interweave them, and you create a shield that is invisible, intangible, psychological, and impenetrable. You do not fight fire with fire, you extinguish fire by refusing to burn. And when they realize you are untouchable, unreadable, unreactive, you will see the subtle panic behind their eyes, the quiet recalibration, the desperate search for a vulnerability that no longer exists. They will begin to retreat, not because you attacked, but because you never gave them the leverage to do so. And this is the ultimate victory. Manipulators cannot conquer minds that are sovereign, disciplined, and invisible in their power.